So what's so cool is that you may not know that WDS actually has a really long-standing commitment to the idea of people going out into the world, community, adventure, service, and wayfinding. And 3 years ago, on this stage, the former magician for WDS behind the scenes, Michelle Jones, announced she was starting this thing called Wayfinding Academy, which was a revolution to sort of change higher education, right? Now, she came back a year after that for sort of an update, and in the audience that year was one person named Austin, who became then a member of the next year's first cohort in the Wayfinding Academy. And we decided to bring him back to share a little bit of an update about what's happening with that. So welcome Austin out to the stage.
So, I have been presented with the task of summing up these last 2 years at Wayfinding in about 5 minutes. So, when I was planning for this, I was thinking about what am I going to do? What am I going to say? And I just really had no idea. I didn't know. But there was one thing I knew. I knew that if my voice was the only voice that you heard up here today, it would not be the full story. So I brought some of my cohort mates with me to help tell this story and to give you a little taste of what these last 2 years have been like. And you're even going to see a little glimpse of what everybody's next steps might look like. So let's hear from Hannah.
Wayfinding, to me, is a community of storytellers, a group of people who are committed to challenging the current narratives that we have, and we're committed to reimagining what a world would look like with new stories.
Creating and telling new stories requires a lot of imagination. And this imagination requires some pushing from our friends, from our cohort mates, from our guides. Let's hear from Tyler.
The first guide that I got here, Jesse, was so just like, every crazy idea you have, like, let's throw it on the table and we're gonna talk about it and like think about how it can happen, all the way from like, oh, you want a traveling van that's like a pop-up store? Let's talk about how that's gonna happen, indulging me in every like crazy idea and challenging me to push it further. I'd never had that before. Like, let's push these boundaries. It was really cool.
We take classes, we have labs, we develop our own independent studies, and we take internships. And together we build a learning community. Let's hear from Haley.
What? Talking about our emotions in school? What is this? But the school is about community and like building that. And to build community, you have to be able to be vulnerable and just be there for other people and connect. And I really love that about Wayfinding.
Within these communities, we learn about ourselves. We explore our interests and our curiosities and our passions. Let's hear from Tucker.
There's one thing that I remain passionate about, and that's my writing. Before, it was this pursuit of being a musician or some sort of a motivational speaker, some sort of speechwriter. And I think that while those things are appealing to me, writing, it's something that I come back to every time and I find new inspiration for. And there's always something that I've observed in the world that I want to talk about and I want to put into an artistic form.
We adventure, we learn and explore. We do things we've never done before. Let's hear from Elizabeth.
I led the Camino de Santiago trip in Portugal last year, and I have traveled a lot in my life by myself, and I had done the Camino on my own. Leading a group of people was a completely different experience. It was challenging because I traveling with myself and all of a sudden having a group of people, and especially on the Camino, which for me was the first time I did it was very solitary. I think the fact that I got 6 other people to like across 2 different countries in like one piece was like something that I didn't really give myself a lot of credit for.
We take ownership of our education, and we become active creators in our own lives. Let's hear from Annie.
Nobody is going to hand you an experience. Nobody is going to create meaning for you. You have to create your own experience and create meaning in your own life. And that is what I really am taking away from Wayfinding, is the ability to create my own experience and create my own meaning.
And so we know that these 2 years are not the end, that they're just the beginning. Let's hear from Austin.
Graduating is a mix of excitement, a little bit of anxiety. I think it really is like a lot of energy and a lot of excitement that I feel towards moving on to next steps. I know that the learning and the things that I've done here and the questions that I'm now asking don't end at graduation. Wayfinding is a process, and it's a process of me becoming more of myself and then bringing that into the world. So I look at graduation and I think it's a really beautiful ceremony, and yet I don't expect that much will change.
When we first came to Wayfinding, we were asked as a cohort to come up with a phrase that would set the intention for our 2 years together. And the phrase that we came up with was many flames, one fire. And so, as we sit here 3 weeks from being the first ever graduating class of Wayfinding Academy, we know that there's going to have to be more people that come in and tend to this fire. And we've also brought some of them along today, too. So let's welcome some members of Cohort 2 and Cohort 3 to the stage. And so WDS, we want to thank you. And I know that people will get up here all the time and say that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And in our case, that is real. We legitimately would not be on this stage, we would not have a school, and we would not be the people that we are today if it weren't for you guys. And so I want to end by just acknowledging that together, everybody in this theater and beyond, all of the Wayfinding people that could not be here today, all of us are many flames, one fire. And together, we are revolutionizing higher education. Thank you.